Most veterans are told the VA loan is a war benefit. That's a lie. It's not just a benefit. It's a high-leverage financial instrument that, if used correctly, represents a legal glitch in the American wealth system. While the rest of the world is fighting over 7% interest rates and scraping together 20% down payments, savvy Florida veterans are using a zero-down strategy to acquire massive assets that essentially pay for themselves. If you've been looking at your VA loan as just a way to buy a house, you're playing the game with one hand tied behind your back. You've been trained to follow orders, but you haven't been trained to lead your capital. This is your tactical briefing on how to stop being a consumer of real estate and start being an architect of wealth. You have spent your career defending the American dream. Now it is time to actually own a piece of it using the most powerful weapon in your financial arsenal. We aren't talking about buying a home in the traditional sense. We are building a wealth stack. Consider the insular civilian model. A family saves for 10 years to put $100,000 down on a $500,000 home. They immediately lose all liquidity, locking their cash in an age-dead asset. If that house appreciates 5%, they see a 25% return on their invested cash, but they've spent thousands on interest and taxes. Your return as a veteran is technically infinite because you have $0 of your own cash in the deal. The error most veterans make is a tactical failure. They buy a house for the kitchen, stay 3 years, sell it, pay a 6% commission, and walk away with nothing but a move-out bill. We use the PCS move, something most families dread, as the ultimate wealth-building catalyst. By using the bank's own rules to bypass the traditional trap, you control the same $500,000 asset, while keeping your cash in high-yield accounts, earning interest while you sleep. This is about using the government's guarantee as a lever to create equity out of thin air. You're essentially taking a non-liquid government promise and converting it into a hard asset that grows, while someone else pays the bill. This isn't just luck. It is a calculated execution of your earned rights. Let's run the math on a $500,000 property in a high-growth corridor like St. Johns County. You enter with $0 down, avoiding private mortgage insurance, PMI, a found money savings of $300 to $500 monthly compared to a civilian. When you PCS, you don't sell, you keep the property as a cash-flowing asset. By year 10, you don't just have a pension, you have a portfolio of properties worth millions, paid for by the BAH of your tenants. This is how a sergeant can retire with a higher net worth than a civilian CEO. It's about the leverage you apply to the benefits you've earned. Every time you move, you're not just changing zip codes, you are adding a new revenue stream to your personal balance sheet. This strategy allows you to dominate the market by holding on to assets that appreciate while the tenants pay down your principal, creating a massive snowball effect of equity. The turbocharger for this strategy is the 100% permanent and total P&T Property Tax Exemption. Under Florida Statute 196.081, if you're 100% P&T, your property taxes are legally erased. On a $600,000 home, a civilian pays nearly $9,000 a year in taxes, money gone forever. You keep that $9,000. That is $750 a month in pure cash flow that stays in your pocket. When you combine $0 down with $0 taxes, the carry on your mortgage drops significantly below fair market rent. This creates a massive spread that turns your home into a passive income machine. While other veterans are forced to sell because they can't afford a negative carry, you have a tax-free cushion that allows you to hold the asset and build an empire. You aren't just saving money, you are using the state of Florida to subsidize your wealth building. This is the ultimate glitch. You are operating with a lower overhead than any civilian landlord in the state, giving you a competitive advantage that is nearly impossible to beat. You are essentially being paid by the state to own high-value real estate. Relocating to Florida isn't just about the sunshine, it's about a strategic mission for your family's wealth. Most veterans leave money on the table because they treat a home as just a roof, not a leverage tool. Today, we're breaking down the veteran blueprint to secure your equity window and build a real estate portfolio. Execution is where the strategist separates from the amateur. You don't pick a house based on granite countertops. You conduct financial reconnaissance. We look for 3 markers: the path of progress, the rent-to-carry ratio, and dual entitlement. We target growth corridors where infrastructure is expanding, ensuring the market does the heavy lifting for your equity. We run an exit strategy before you sign. If you moved in 12 months, would market rent cover the mortgage? Even without your tax exemption, finally, we plan for dual entitlement. Many veterans wrongly believe they can only have one VA loan. We calculate your bonus entitlement so you can keep house number 1 as a rental and buy house number 2 with 0 down. This is how you transition from a one-house owner to a portfolio manager. It requires long-term vision. It's a willingness to see past the immediate home and see the future investment. Why now? Why not wait for rates to drop? That is civilian thinking. In the veteran blueprint, we realize that when rates drop, prices skyrocket. Every civilian enters the market at once. By buying now, you secure the equity window. If you buy a $500,000 home at 6.5% and rates drop to 5%, you execute an IRRRL. It costs almost nothing and drops your payment instantly. The civilian who waited will be competing with 20 other buyers, paying $550,000 for that same house. They have a lower rate but $50,000 more in debt. You have $50,000 in equity and a lowered payment. Timing the market is a fool's errand. Timing your leverage is genius. You have a government-backed refinance tool civilians don't have. Use it to be aggressive while others are fearful. You are essentially refinancing your way into wealth. By the time the general public realizes the market is hot again, you will already be sitting on a mountain of equity with a payment that makes you the envy of the neighborhood. This is about being a first mover in a high-stakes game. Ready to secure your Florida future? Let's get to work. We've covered the math, the tax eraser, and the tactical recon. Now comes the order. You must stop treating your move to Florida as a relocation and start treating it as an acquisition. The difference between a veteran who retires with a $2,000 pension and one who retires with $15,000 a month in cash flow is simply the courage to execute this blueprint. This is your legacy. Your future starts now with the right acquisition plan. Your next step isn't to browse Zillow or listen to water cooler advice. It's to get a tactical entitlement analysis. You need to know exactly how much bonus entitlement you have and how the 100% P&T exemption impacts your specific debt-to-income ratio. This isn't a job for a retail mortgage broker who does 3 VA loans a year and barely understands the basic rules. You need a strategist who lives and breathes the Florida Veteran Wealth Stack. If you are ready to stop guessing and start building, I've put together a Northeast Florida Veteran Relocation Blueprint. It includes school district heat maps, property tax calculators, and the exact step-by-step process we use to help veterans move to Florida and secure their final PCS. This guide is the result of years of tactical experience in the Northeast Florida market, designed specifically for those who have served. Don't let your benefits expire in a bank account that isn't yours. Don't leave money on the table that belongs to your family's future. Use the lever you were given. Build the stack that sustains you. Secure the high ground that offers you the best view of your success. I'm Darian, and this is Florida Veteran Real Estate. Remember, everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear. The Florida Veterans Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Exit Inspired Real Estate. All information is for educational purposes. Consult a professional before making financial decisions. Equal housing opportunity.